things. Yeah. And even if there was no deep emotional connection, it's still great shit to consistently. It's there. Look at what you could have got. Yeah.
The video you just saw was Tulz talking about Thato and her relationship with Gashawan and the fact that she's like rubbing it in his face and da. You guys, last night was something else. I thought I had seen it all, but nah. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Last night they just went on and on and on. I'm like, all this energy in one house, it's crazy. So welcome back to my channel, guys. If you are new here, please do subscribe, turn on your post notifications so that I can get notified each time I post a brand new video, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up. So let's talk about the events of last night and the things that just went on with the different housemates. I'm going to try and go accordingly. Let me not begin with the Thato side. Let me just explain how they got to that point. So basically, Tulz and Sis Tamara were outside talking about some of the things that happened inside the house, and what warranted the whole conversation, or the beginning of the conversation, was with Terry's name, right? They were talking about Terry. Apparently inside the house, Terry talked about BU and some other housemates too. Like she was analyzing the housemates that have left the house and saying like good things and, you know, bad things about some of the housemates. And for BU, she said that BU did not represent the whole vegan thing enough, his people. He did not represent his people enough, that if he did that, he would have been in the house. So Libo kind of questioned it like, how do you mean that BU did not represent his people? And she was like, to her, he didn't represent his people, that the only thing she knew was food. You know, they don't eat certain things when it comes to food, that he didn't represent them enough. When I actually heard that conversation, I was like, nah, I don't think that's the case. So when they were outside, they now referred back to that, and the Libo was like, that's why he had to question her because of that. Like, what do you mean, like, this person did not represent this enough? And then Tulz now said that you can also say the same for her.
Wasn't standing up for vision enough.
I could easily argue that you didn't stand for being sexually liberated
Enough.
because you didn't have sex. In a platform where you can advertise the fact that you are sexually liberated. You had a man.
His take to me on that matter was somehow, because like, how did he reason it from that angle? I don't think being sexually liberated means that you're supposed to just go around having sex because you have somebody and then just to show and prove that you get. I understand that when it comes to BU's situation, I personally did not agree with her saying BU did not sell himself well as a vegan. I don't agree with that one, but I don't also agree with his own, except maybe he was just saying it to, like, you know, counter what she said, or you know, just because she said this, then he's saying that. So that's how the whole Terry conversation started. Then they moved to another conversation about the whole veto power situation and how they played the game in the house. And while they were having this conversation, Sis Tamara just voiced out something about Terry. Like, she called Terry a weak. And I'm like, like, it just came out of nowhere, because they had kind of like moved on from the Terry conversation, or at that particular time they were not speaking on Terry. So I don't know how that just came out from nowhere, like, phew.
And did you see that was a seed that was planted.
She is a fucking weak bitch in your brain.
No.
When it comes to Tamara and Terry's issues, it's weird. First of all, I don't think Terry is weak in any way. Terry has shown strength in so many ways in that house. But when it comes to Tamara and her issues, I don't even know how it got this deep on Sis Tamara's angle, because I know on Terry's part, when it comes to Tamara, I don't think Terry has exactly shown any form of negativity towards Sis Tamara, even in her gossips, in her this thing. She has not really shown animosity towards Sis Tamara, right? Even with all the things that Sis Tamara did, like putting her, Terry and Vino up for possible eviction, not saving them, Terry has still, you know, carried on with the whole friendship and still tried to. In fact, it's almost as if Terry has been forcing the friendship, to be honest, because Sis Tamara has pretty much shown that she's not really for that friendship, you know, even though she apologized to Terry for what she did, but she has pretty much shown that she's not really for that friendship. So it's just weird. It's almost like Terry tends to like trust the people that are not supposedly for her. So that's what, you know, Sis Tamara said, and it caused a lot of havoc. It caused a lot of things on Twitter, with some people defending, some people attacking, and all of that. I'm like, I'm not even ready for this kind of negative talk. Then I moved on to Thato's gist, obviously, where Tulz is involved. there's going to be Thato. Tato's name will surely come up, and this has been going on for a long while now. Thato when it comes to tools. So he brought about Tato's conversation, and the fact that, you know, after the whole veto power save and replace, the way Thato has been acting towards him, to him, like, Thato is always shutting down his ideas when he's trying to bring up ideas in a group, and then she'll end up now maybe replacing it with a worse idea or a stupid idea. And then Sis Tamara said something about the fact that there's a time where she had an idea and then Thato hijacked her idea. Terry also does the same thing. So that's how they started the whole Thato conversation.
Guys, I have an idea.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I was so irked by that.
I kind of got used to it, not even just from her. Like, it's always what you see when other people doing this.
Then why are we arguing?
Then later on, I don't know why I'm laughing. These things are now funny to me. It's no more something that I will be killing myself about or start feeling bad about. It's just funny to me at this point. So later on now, that's when Tulz was now saying that Thato has been rubbing the whole thing in his face just to show that, oh, see what you're missing. And when he demonstrated everything, I was like,
And even if there was no deep emotional connection, it's still great your tits. Consistently, it's there.
Look at what you could have got.
So that's how Thato came into the conversation, and then, you know, they finished her, they dissected her own gist, and then for Mpho's gist, because they talked about Terry, Thato, and Mpho. For Mpho's side, Tulz was just talking about the fact that I think Mpho kind of gave him some words of advice, or was like giving him motivational speeches earlier on, and Tulz was not like, I don't think he bought it, he was not buying it, he was just feeling like she was trying to just be nice. And then he also mentioned that she said he's arrogant, she noted that he's arrogant, but he believes that she's also arrogant and she's playing her own game.
When I hear stuff like you're arrogant, it's like, dog, when have you watched you? You are a heavy mover.
Yeah.
It's just that you play the and even I question how cool you are, because Tabi's gone. So I wonder if this whole thing would be the same if she was still living.
Then Sis Tamara now made mention of this whole, you know, there's this whole idea of Mpho saying that the people that have been close to her always leave, and it did not start with Mpho. I think it was also when she was with Libo, and they just, you know, there was just this narrative, and then Sis Tamara made mention of it. And for Sis Tamara's conversations, there are some parts I didn't really understand what was being said, so I'm not going to put in everything that was said, obviously, because the conversations, some of the conversations that they had, I didn't exactly know who they were referring to in that particular statement or this thing. So just not to confuse us and confuse everybody, not to confuse the whole thing, I won't put everything, but for that part, they, you know, moved on to Mpho's conversation, and that's how they talked about all these housemates.
She said,
then if I get drunk and hit your friend,
close to left. You remember what she said on the card. What does that mean to the thing? Do you get lost within that? Again, I did not come to this show to be a fucking supporting character.
as soon as you detach yourself,
Thank you.
shut up.
Yeah.
As soon as you detach yourself, you shut up.
Meanwhile, when they took us inside, Thato and Gashawan, they were having a conversation about what they find good, the good things that they see in the housemates, the good things that they've noted in the housemates. Thato told Gashawan to tell her the good things in each housemate that he has noticed, right? It was almost as if they were feeling the bad energy, and they were like, okay, let them soften the whole issue. So they said different good things about different housemates, which I cannot obviously talk about. I can't talk about everything, but I know that Thato talked about Temba and the fact that she sees Temba as somebody that likes lifting other people up, like he lets people shine. So that's one good thing that she likes about Temba.
Like, he's the one person that elevates people. So he'll be like, you know, Gash is very good at this and this and this and this. Have you guys noticed how good Gash is? You know, Tamara, you're so flipping good with the American. He's there. He gives people the credit.
Meanwhile, Tulz and Libo, they were dissecting Gashawan on the other side of the sitting room or the dining room area. And what they were saying, the way the conversation went with that one is, Tulz was asking Libo whether he feels like Gashawan and Thato are genuine. And then Libo was now saying that he can't really tell until they leave the house. Then Libo now brought up a conversation about what Gashawan, there's a conversation that Gashawan had with him by the lounge or so. So apparently he said that Gashawan told him that all the ladies in the house, he doesn't care about them in any way, that he doesn't give a F about them, right? And then, you know, Tulz asked whether Thato was involved. She was like, no, that all the others, and that Gashawan said he's not going to, you know, reach out to any of them outside the show.
There's all of those girls in this house right now. I'm gonna fuck up on all of them.
Is that all?
Except obviously the one that said that, and I'm not gonna hit them up after this.
I find him weird. He's full of shit. Like he's hot, cold. Hot.
Yeah, fuck. I can never.
Yeah,
I
don't want to hit.
So let me just continue. So later on, apparently in the night, Mpho now had a conversation with Tulz. They were having a conversation about Tulz's behavior in the house, and how he has moved. Mpho was just dissecting his entire character, and she was right. She mentioned that he's the kind of person that will instigate something and just sit back and watch and see how everything unfolds, which is what he has been doing to a lot of the housemates, even people that are close to him, especially with that Libo and Terry situation. That was a terrible thing for him to do, but he did that, and he has just been watching them fight, and he has not even done anything about it. So she just mentioned that that's the kind of person that he is, and just said different things about him. They had that conversation. I don't know if that was just them reconciling or anything, but Tulz also acknowledged that that's the idea he came to the house with, to either manipulate, do anything just to get the money, right? That all he came in for is the money, so he was ready to do anything.
So that has made me look at you in a different light, to be like, oh, you're finally using your voice for the right reasons. Because I used to be very curious, like to a point, like I just wonder, watching at home, how are your diary sessions?
These housemates are, I don't even know, they are like, I don't know the idea that they had of this game, but it's so weird how bitter a lot of them are about several other housemates. There's just this thing, like they just keep, is either they're dissecting this person or the other, or it just gives me this weird vibe. Sometimes I don't want to cover those kind of gist, because it's just not what I would like to be talking about. I like talking about nice things, happy things, cool things, right? So I just said, let me bring this on to you guys. What do you guys think about everything that's going on? I think the whole thing is just getting too much. This show should do an end. Safe. We're tired. We're honestly tired. They should do an end. Let's move on, and you know, maybe wait for the reunion where we'll see real basketballs, not this side talks. We need to see the actual basketballs or the confrontations, not this small talks. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Bye. Love you.